Calling the meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. This is the Board of Directors regular school board meeting for Monday, June 24th, 2024. Welcome to all of our visitors, guests, and media. Tonight we'll start with board and administration roll calls. Mr. Felt here. Mr. Burns?
Here.
Ms. Danielson?
Here.
Ms. Schultz?
Here.
Ms. Getzko?
Here.
Ms. Naton?
Here.
Mr. O'Neill?
Here.
Mr. Schuler?
Here.
Mr. Hennon?
Here.
Mr. Girton?
Here.
Ms. O'Connell?
Here.
Ms. Payton?
Here.
Ms. Dimmler?
Here.
Mr. Vio?
Here.
Mr. Szymanski? Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have had no public comments prior to the meeting, so is there a motion to approve the agenda and addendums?
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Danielson, seconded by Ms. Getzko. Any further discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item 3, the consent agenda, which includes the regular school board minutes for May 20th, 2024, the personnel consent agenda, and the business consent agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
Jeff's got it.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Right?
Motion made by Mr. Burns, seconded by Mr. O'Neill. Any further discussion on the consent agenda?
I was just going to say there's a couple of contracts on there, so wanted to acknowledge those.
The teaching and the Director of Teaching and Learning and Technology Operations.
Yes.
So, no other discussion. All those in favor of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item 4, recognitions, presentations, and showcase. Mr. Szymanski, floor is yours.
Good evening. Thank you. It's always great to celebrate activity successes, and tonight we're going to take a look at the spring. We've got a couple of qualifiers for the state meets, so we want to give them their due recognition. Coach Ock, our boys golf coach, was not able to be here tonight, so I have the pleasure of introducing Mr. Nathan Ragnar. Nathan, why don't you come on up here? Nathan qualified for state in boys golf at sections in Becker. First day he shot a 78. Day 2 he shot an 81, and for a total of 159. Good enough for 8th place at sections, and then qualifying him for state. My fault. State didn't go as well, not due to anything of his doing, but the weather did not cooperate. He had an okay first day, but then day 2 that's when the rains kind of started. I think, what was your delay? 3 hours at one point? Yeah, 3 hours. So the decision was made by a lot of golfers. They did not finish the second round. So if you looked officially on the high school league website and saw that, it would say did not finish, but many of them didn't finish, and it was a weather-related story. So it was a very tough course, but Nathan represented us really well, and we're very excited for his first trip to state golf. So congratulations.
Okay, so I will represent the 3 track people and field people that we had go to state. Mallory Sonano, she is not able to be here, but she went in both the shot and the disc. She ended up medaling in her shot put, which was fantastic. Ended up in finals out of 3 heats. And then we have Maggie McCabe, who went for both the triple and the long jump. I mean, she didn't have the greatest showing, but she still jumped 14.7 off the wrong foot, so pretty amazing athlete there. Yep. And then we have Micah Schmidt, who is here with us, so Micah can come up. Micah qualified in the triple jump and always wants to do better. However, little does he realize he was in the first flight. So out of 3, the first flight is typically the shortest distance jumped. and he PR'd his first jump and his second jump and ended up in the finals with coming home with hardware from state.
Nice.
So pretty amazing. You don't really see that very often where they go from the first flight. You kind of just think, okay, I'm here at state. This is exciting. And he walked out with a medal. So pretty exciting stuff for Micah. So congratulations, sir.
Stacy Getzko, representing Watertown Trap Team. This is Griffin Getzko, my son. First year as a coach, I'm learning as we go. Trap's a bigger sport than more people realize nowadays. 11,900 kids participate in Minnesota in trap, which is amazing. 365 teams, give or take, every year. And top 40 teams qualify for state, and top 100 boys get to go to state, and top 25 girls get to go to state. Griffin was our individual that represented us at state this year. He finished third in conference, top 100 shooter, and he had an average of 23.8 out of 25 this season, which is not an easy challenge. He ended up shooting through the rain on Friday for state championships. Nerves got him a little bit at number 50. Missed a few at that point. He had 49 straight hits. Missed about 5 over the next 25. Regained his composure and shot a 24 out of 25 to finish his run at 94 out of 100. He ended up placing at number 55 in state out of 100 out of 11,900 kids.
Nice.
And
Cool.
had a lot of fun this year, and can't wait to go back till next year. So, anyways, congratulations.
All right. Do you have a clicker?
Oh, your family's not going to stay?
Oh, they don't want to stay, huh?
Right?
Gonna go to soccer practice.
Oh.
All right, for soccer practice.
Yeah.
A lot of states.
Okay. Now it's time for the 2023-2024 activities review. All kinds of exciting stuff. Last year we did this, and really I think the focus was we tried to focus on what our department goals are and just how we achieved them, and what we did achieve, what we didn't achieve, and just some of the numbers that we didn't really talk about. It's really a privilege seasonally to come here and bring our athletes, bring our participants, and you guys recognize them seasonally. That's a lot of fun, and it's great. So we really kind of avoided, or I avoided that at this time, because we've done that, and although it's always fun to talk about kids and all the success that they have. So this is just some of the nuts and bolts and some of the numbers from the activities department throughout the year. But we're taking a look at our department goals. We always want to have a high participation rate this year compared to last year, and we were down about 16 participants. And now that participants is both activities and in athletics. And one of the things I sort of attribute that to is we had a large graduating class the year before. We'll kind of stabilize a little bit more. So our goal is always to beat the numbers from last year. But taking a look at the numbers, we were about 16 short compared to last year. Next thing we try to do, we play in a very competitive conference, and our goal is to try to win at least 3 conference titles throughout the entire year, whether that be team or individual. We truly believe that if we are competitive within the conference, then we'll be competitive at sections and potentially possibly at state. So our conference champions this year, volleyball and gymnastics as far as team titles go, and we did have an individual conference champion, Kate Drauhaus, for speech. So she was a Wright County Conference champion as well. We have 100 team conference titles in school history as of right now. Looking forward to more next year. Third one, high retention of participants. Not only do we want a lot of kids out, we want them to stay out. We try to keep 80% of our participants from 9th grade into 10th grade. And this past year, we managed to keep 83.5% of them. And then from the time they are sophomores to the time they're juniors, we'd like to keep at least 60% of them. And we were at 88%. Now, it's a natural progression as far as, typically you have a lot of freshmen, fewer sophomores, fewer juniors, fewer seniors. That's natural. That's the same in most sports. Football really is, or a contact sport, football, hockey is something along that nature, really likes to have a lot of seniors on the team. Seniors in football is a really good thing, but having 15 seniors on your basketball team, that isn't necessarily a good thing. It makes it hard for the next year after graduation. But we were able to achieve those goals. We're pleased with that. We also, through activities, promote the benefits of healthy lifestyle. 90% of our participants said that this experience was a positive one, and that came off the end-of-year survey to parents and to participants. 80% believed their physical well-being improved. They're in better shape by the end of the year. 88%. We want 80%. And 80%, our goal, we want the kids to feel connected, whether it be to their teammates, to their coaches, to the program, to the school, and they responded 89% in the favorable that they were connected somehow, some way. Through activities, we want to create that culture of high expectation, and that's kind of a difficult thing to measure. So some of the things that we picked out to measure is team GPAs, because we believe that if you're working hard on the field, on the court, on the stage, you're going to be working hard, hopefully, in the classroom to stay working on the court and on the stage and on the field. Team GPAs for 10th through 12th graders was 3.45. Coaches Association Team Academic Awards, these are just the ones that I know about. Usually late July, early August, I'll get an envelope from the Coaches Association with a lot of these plates that I put on the plaques that are in the trophy cases. But the ones I know about so far, in the gold category, girls swimming, boys cross country, girls cross country, and softball, they were gold. And I think, Andrea got out of here as quick as she could. I think it's 3.5 and better for the Coaches Association for the gold. Silver, 3.0 and better, football and volleyball we had there. 80% of our participants agreed that team expectations and rules were clearly explained, so we're 90% there. Our goal, again, was 80. This one, technically we didn't achieve our goal, but we want participants to agree that team expectations and rules are applied consistently to all. Our goal is 80%. We finished at 79.4, so just a little bit short there. Gives us something to improve on for next year. So those were our 5 department goals, and some of the information that we used to sort of say, yep, we made it, or no, we didn't make it. Some of the other yearly recognitions we don't talk about during the year, we had 46 students make the Royal Triple Crown. This is something that we've had for a number of years now. I think the only year we didn't have it was the COVID year that we lost in 2020. 46 athletes were, and I'm not sure if all of them are pictured, but I think most of them were pictured. 46 athletes participated in 3 sports, fall, winter, and spring. That's quite an accomplishment because it takes a lot to be involved in an activity or a sport, and then to do that all year round that's pretty impressive. And then something new we started last year, so this is year 2. We call it the Royal High Five. 31 participants were in 5 activities or more. I think the most you can be, and if you counted up everything, I think it'd be 17 different activities and clubs that you can be involved in. The most we had when we took a look at it, and this was 3 years ago before we started it, we had somebody that was at 8, and that was a lot. They were always here, they were always practicing, they were always doing something. But Royal High Five, 31 of our students met that criteria. So that's very exciting, and that grew from 17 last year, so that number increased. Some of the scholarship awards that we worked through this year, we had 33 high school participants that received scholarships or fee waivers, 6 from the middle school, for a grand total of $61.15 in fees waived this year. Now, one of the things with that number, we received a donation at the beginning of the year, at the end of August or early September last year, for $1,200 that we put towards that number. And then we also, one of the grants that the High School League has that we work on, I believe it's in November, we fill out that form and that sort of stuff. also apply to that. And that was another $1,200 we received from the high school league. So of that $6,100, $2,400 of it was covered through other means and donations and stuff like that. So again, it's a good thing. Our coaches know money's not going to stop you from participating. We want kids out. We can work on that. We can reduce it. We can waive it. There's all sorts of things that we can do. Co-curricular coaching openings that we have right now, fall. That's not going to be here for months and months, so we don't have to worry about it yet. But girls soccer still has 2 positions open. Football has a 7th grade position. And with football, we're also looking for someone to work with one of our students. That's a high school special ed para. In volleyball, we have a 7th grade opening. Winter, girls basketball, 7th grade, and that's the shortened season or half season from October to December. Spring, we're seeking a golf coach, boys and girls JV. And in the activities world, we don't have any at this time, but that can change with the next phone call. This is a Hall of Fame year, and we just inducted the class of 2024. We met last week, and we had a number of fine candidates to choose from, and it was I don't want to say it was an easy decision, but a lot of it was pretty easy. It kind of fell into place, and we were able to select this, and it really worked out where everyone in the group came and had looked at it before, and we're all kind of thinking the same thing in a sense that this person is worthy and this person deserves recognition. But here are the inductees for this year. Joe Train goes in the coach and advisor category. Russ Runk, coach and advisor. Pat Hittel-Niermeyer in the fan. Mike Neaton in the fan category. And Paul Diethelm in the outstanding graduate category. So those are the 5 that we will induct officially. Homecoming football game, and I believe it is the 27th of September. It's the last Friday in September. So that's when the official ceremony will happen, and we'll do that at halftime of the varsity football game. 49 days from today, camp starts, fall sports starts. And if you're on campus at all, you've seen a lot of activity both with construction and that, but I've been very impressed this year so far. Number of kids involved in SWAT, working very, very hard on the turf. The turf has been wonderful. We haven't missed a day with all the rain, with all the, you can't go out because they haven't been able to cut the grass yet. We haven't had to worry about that. We've been able to use the turf. We've had a number of youth camps. We've had high school camps. We've had open gyms. There's been a lot of student activity. Summer Youth Theater is in full force right now using the PAC. So campus has still been a very busy place. A lot of kids are working hard. A lot of kids are doing some things that's going to improve their skills for the upcoming season. So that's very, very exciting. Any questions?
With the roughly 16 students that were down from last year.
Yep.
How are we reaching out to try to encourage those 9th graders, 8th graders to sign up for theater, for basketball, other activities? Are we doing anything to try to foster that growth at a younger age?
I think we always are, and it's not the activities that are down. Activities kind of came in and bolstered that number up a little bit. It was the athletics numbers that were down more than the activities. So I think the word is getting out. I think our coaches are constantly recruiting. I think the best thing for recruiting is when kids are in an activity, kids are enjoying themselves, kids are having fun, and they go to their friends and say, hey, I'm in Summer Youth Theater, you should come. And that's the best way to recruit. But it's one of those things that it's always in the kind of the forefront of our coaches' meetings and our coaches' minds. We need the numbers. We need participants. We need to get kids involved. And I think that's kind of a focus all the time.
Hunter, I know that girls swimming, so my daughter is the captain, one of the captains, and in the spring they do go over to the middle school and do talk to the students just to say, this is what our season looks like, this is what we do if you're interested. So
Yeah. The more you can get involved at a younger age, the
Correct.
more likely they are to stick with it or
Correct.
continue on. So.
And that 9th grade orientation, they have tables for the different clubs and things like
Yeah.
that too. So.
Perfect. Anything else for Mr. Szymanski? Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
thank you.
Moving on then to the first action item, the acknowledgement of donations, contributions, and fundraising. Mr. Schuler.
And Mr. Chair, we'd like to recognize just one group today in the June board meeting. It's the Watertown Lions for a donation to robotics for $6,000. And this goes towards the motors and the parts that they need in order to run their machines and robots. I know that's a big piece of the most expensive part of that program is the continuation of the motors. I know I was actually at this meeting and heard some of their pleas for support, and it was well received in the fact that the motors they have lasted 5 years, which is well beyond their lifespan. So I know that donation was really appreciated. So thank you to the Lions.
I'll make a motion to approve the donation contribution and fundraising.
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Felt, second by Ms. Danielson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item B, the 24-25 parent-student handbooks. Mr. Schuler and the admin team as needed.
Yes, Mr. Chair and board members, tonight we're bringing forth 3 handbooks. As I mentioned last month, we delayed the elementary handbook a month so we could align it a little bit more with the middle school and high school in terms of the template and the layout that has been changed this year. It's been a pretty extensive change, and again, I want to thank Ms. Hewen for kind of spearheading that along with the principals and their admin assistants for putting this revision together. And it was been our goal for the last couple of years to do a kind of a revamp, if you will. And one of the key aspects that you'll notice is that a lot of the handbook is made up of links and links that are connected back to our website. And the purpose of that was to really highlight our website. We have a fantastic website with a lot of great information. So the idea was to draw people to that whenever possible. So the links do provide that opportunity, and obviously it's easy to update as well. So we feel it's a much more 21st century handbook, I guess you'd say, than maybe in the past. And I know Mr. Hennon and Mr. Gerton attended a handbook training this past spring, brought back some of the information again, that just really what is relevant, what needs to be in there by statute, and then again, just refining it so it's a much simpler handbook. Again, in previous years, we've put forth some changes. This year, we're considering it a total revamp, but no major changes. So I'll just note that, but just again, a format change.
Is there a motion to approve the student handbooks?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion made by Ms. Schultz, seconded by Ms. Getzko. Any further discussion on the handbooks? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item C, the FY24 revised budget. Ms. Rader.
Good evening. I'm going to present the 2023-24 revised budget along with the 24-25 budget for next school year.
Do you want me to click for you? Or? Okay.
I think I can multitask. I don't know. Let's see. Try it. Just to review our people that don't know, our district utilizes 5 funds: the general fund, food service fund, community education fund, construction fund, and the debt service fund. I will be going over the revenues and expenditures for both the revised budget and the revised budget. We're going to start. Oh yeah. I gotta look here again. Ooh, that's gonna be hard. Okay. The general fund is the largest of the primary fund. It's used to record all the activity in K-12, along with student transportation and capital-related activities. All fiscal resources are accounted for here. Usually, unless they are specified, that they have to be into another fund. We're going to talk about revenue first. There's 4 main components of our Fund 1 revenue. The state, which is dependent on enrollment. The levy, which is our tax payments. Federal, which is special education and title funds. And then local is the fees that we collect by our students and families, activity fees, donations, and interest. For our enrollment projections, as I said, our main source of revenue comes from the state, and it's based on our students that we serve and their called an ADM. And the budget that we approved last June was based on 1,480.32 ADM. The most recent ADM report, which was June 10th, it's the first one of the year, or the end of the year, it reported 1,453.15. That's about 27 that were down. That's a pretty big number. I did quickly run over the information. There are some errors, and we do have more submissions that we will be doing. The final enrollment's due in October, so we have a couple months to clean up the data, and hopefully we'll get closer to that 1480. Please remember that if we don't get to that 1480, the revenue will be less because we will get less state aid. So just keep that in your mind when we come in November for the audit. So for the 25 school year, we're projecting the ADM will be 1,478.73, which is a small decrease of about 1.59 ADM. The next slide just shows 6 years of actual ADM and then 5 years of what we're projecting. Notice it's very consistent, and then by 29 it does drop off. Not drop off, I shouldn't say that. It goes down more, and that is the year that we have the largest, we lose the large high school class. So hopefully this changes. This is just a forecast of many different resources that we have available to us, but this is what we have to base on the information that we have now. So I'll go into the actual revenues. We adopted the current budget at $21.7 million. The revised budget will increase, or I'm anticipating it'll increase about $605,000 for about $22.3 million. The increases are due to the interest revenue. The returns are way higher than I anticipated when we adopted the budget. And the state revenue increases that weren't known, the legislative session ended end of May, and I had to put the budget together before that, so I wasn't able to add all of that information in. I have a little bit of information on the state legislation increase on my next slide. For the 25 proposed revenue, 20.6 million, it's a decrease of 1.7. That number might jog your memory. That is the amount of our middle school road. Remember, in 23, we paid for it out of we paid for it out of Fund 1, so the expenditures were higher. We paid back Fund 1 this year, so our revenues are higher. And then in 25, we're back to normal. So I just gave a quick update of the 4 categories. The levy revenue increases a small amount of $74,000. State revenue increases about $76,000. Please do note that does include the 2% increase of general ed funding formula, and then a slight decline in the ADM. Federal revenue increase of about $63,000. One thing to note, our Title I funds will be increasing in 25, and that's due to the federal poverty numbers. We get those from Washington, D.C., and our poverty numbers decreased, so we have an increase in Title I funds. And also, there'll be a little bit more of special ed federal revenues that we'll use in 25. And the reason we have that available is because of COVID. We had to do some shuffling, so we maintain maintenance of efforts for our special ed. So we had to use a little bit of less federal funds. So now we're going to start using our stockpile, not stockpile, but our revenues that we weren't able to use in prior years. And then here's our biggest fluctuation is our local revenue. It's going to decrease about 1.9 million, which is mainly the abatement funds for the middle school project. And also E-rate funding. It comes out in 5-year blocks of funds, and you have up to 5 years to use them, and we've been using it for the last 3 years. So we've used all of our E-rate funding, so we will not have any more. So that is a decrease in 25. And also I decreased the interest revenue because you never know what's going to happen with the interest rates, so I'd rather be a little conservative. This is the slide that shows the 23 legislative revenue analysis, and the graph is from MSBA, and it just shows the blue bucket is the discretionary fund, and that's the monies, and mind you, this is for all school districts, but that's the amount of money that went to schools that they could use for anything. Cost of doing business, salary increases, whatever. The red one is categorical. So the state did give school districts money, but they told us how to spend that. So it's really not extra money to pay bills. And then the last two are grant, well, the yellow is grants, so there was some grant funding, and then the green is non-K1, K-12 revenue. I just wanted to let you know that the categorical revenue that we did receive was the unemployment hourly workers, student support aid for the district, student support for the cooperative, and that is, we get the money, but we have to give it to the cooperative, so that's just an in and out, so it's no gain for us. School library aid, and then the special ed aid cross subsidy. And they also changed the rules on two forms of it, revenue that we were receiving, so they made it a little bit, not harder, but restrictive on how you can use compensatory funds and literacy aid. I always like to just show the revised budget to the budget that's being approved, just so we know that it's in line. And you'll notice that in 24, the purple is the local, which was when the middle school road, and then of course it's back to normal, about 4.6% in 25. So it's pretty stable, except for that fluctuation. Anybody have any questions on revenue? Okay, I'm going to go to expenditures. This slide just shows that the state does mandate that all school districts use UFAR coding for expenses. It's a 17-digit code, and it's broke down into specific what the funds or the expense is for. So this just goes over the funds, the org, and the program, and then the course, the finance, and the object. The 24 approved expenditure budget was about $20.7 million. There's a small increase for the revised budget of about $232,000. It's about a 1.12% increase. It's too little of amount to be able to tell you exactly what it's for. It's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. As I said, it's a 1.12 of our budget. And then the proposed budget is going up just a little bit as well, 1.01 for an increase of $215,000. Please note that that $21.1 million that we're proposing for 25 does include the $400,000 that we did cut from last year. So even though we cut, we still are increasing our expenditures just because of life and expenses increase. Again, this is just a showing of the revised budget and the current budget that's being presented, that it's very similar. 68.74% in 24 was salary and benefits, and it's up to about 69.97, so it's very similar. Any question, Fund 1? Okay, we'll hop on to Fund 2, which is our food service revenues. The revised budget is predicting about $246,000 increase for about $1.1 million, and that's due to increase of participation. I did some quick numbers. We increased breakfast servings by 41,000 from 23 to 24, and 39,000 for lunch. So they really did serve a lot more this year. And then for the proposed budget of 25, it's a small decrease of 42,000. For the last couple of years, we've been receiving some supply chain assistance fund. I have not heard that that's going to continue, so that is what that decrease is for. For our expenditures, the revised budget has an increase of about 89,000. Again, it's due to increased participation. And then in 25, it's an increase of about 20,000. We're going to try to buy purchase some equipment, because we do have a fund balance from the last couple of years of COVID and all that, so we want to use some of that fund balance. Okay, on to community education. Community education provides opportunities for all of our members in the community. Community Ed, like the general fund, does have fund balances. We have the regular Community Ed, early childhood, school readiness, adult basic education, and the non-public aid and preschool screening. The revenues for Community Ed, there is a slight increase of about 24,000 compared to the approved budget, and the proposed budget is an increase of about 106,000. Do remember that Community Ed, the revenues drive the expenses, so they need to live within their means. And Community Ed expenditures, a small increase of 75,000, and for the proposed budget, an increase of 144,000. And again, it's just the programs that they're offering, the increases. Next, we'll move to the construction fund. The original approved budget was $8 million, and this was due to the abatement bond that we received. The revised budget is going up about 173,000 due to the actual revenues that we received for that. We had a little bit of a proceed, and the interest revenue was higher than anticipated. And for 25, the proposed revenues are only 120,000, and that's going to be just the remaining bond interest on the remaining bond funds, because we will be sending that down, so we will not be receiving as much interest. For the expenditures, we approved the budget at $5 million. It's turning out to be about $4.2 million that we have expensed out. And then next year, we anticipate spending about 5.5, and that's the majority of the abatement bond fund will be done, and we'll have a little bit of balance from the original $25 million construction fund. Now on to debt service. Currently, the district has 5 bonds. They're listed there. 2 of them do get paid off in 26, and then 23, 38, and 40. So, and the revenues, again, Fund 7 is based on our debt service schedule. We received the fund revenues from the levy based on the principal and interest payments. So there was a small change in the revised budget just due to the actual revenue that we did receive. And then you'll notice that the 25 proposed revenue is very close to what it was this year. Our debt service is pretty constant until we pay off those 2 bonds in 26, and then there'll be a slight decrease. Expenditures look pretty close to the revenues. There's a small decrease in the expenditures due on the actual expenditures that we had to pay out. And the proposed expenditures are 4.5 million, very close to this year's. Again, it follows the debt service. Just touch briefly on the fund balances. The state does mandate that each school district have fund balances, and there's 6 different types of fund balances that you can have. The non-spendable, which are prepaids, restricted, and reserved, are the categorical that MDE tells you how to spend. The restricted are mainly just for Fund 2, 4, 6, and 7. Committed, if there was anything that the school board wanted to say we were going to spend the funds on this, we would commit the funds. Assigned is when school administration has a purpose for funds, and then the unassigned, and that's just in Fund 1. Fund balance, the reserved and restricted, I'm just listing all the different in Fund 1, the reserved and restricted fund balances. In our district, we mainly have balances in the operating capital, long-term facility maintenance, and the medical assistance. The other ones, we spend the revenue that we do receive. And I mentioned before, Community Ed does have fund balances, and there's ECFE, school readiness, and adult basic ed. Unassigned fund balance, this is pretty important. Fund 1 is the only one that has an unassigned fund balance. This is the remainder of all the revenues and expenditures, and we want it to be positive. There's no real guideline from the state on how much you have to have in the unassigned fund balance. It's about 2 to 3 months of your current expenditures or 10% of your current expenditures. Our fund balance policy is that we strive to keep our unassigned fund balance between 7 and 20% of our expenditures. So with that being said, we'll look at what our unassigned fund balance has been in the past. I think I have 8 years on there. You can see that it went up, and then it went down in 23, and that's because of the middle school, not high school. And then in 24, we're expected to go up to about 15.98%, and then in 25, go down to about 13.7, which to me is a very nice place to be. The next two shots, I'm just going to quickly, I promise I'll be quick. Nobody's asleep yet. This just shows what the unassigned will be. So the unassigned that I'm predicting for Fund 1 is 3.344 million. And then all the restricted balances, and then food service, we're thinking about, it's going to be around 400,000. Food service does have a minimum fund balance. You're only supposed to have an average of 3 months expenditure. But because of COVID and all the money that we've got, they have extended that to 6 months for 25 and 26. So we do have to have a plan on how to spend that down, because we're out about 5 months, if I remember right. Can you scroll down a little bit? Oops.
All right.
No, maybe not.
Oh,
It's okay.
what happened there? This is where you're at?
Yeah, I was at 24. Just a little bit because we don't have this. And then community ed, they're going to be about the same. They increase a little by 32,000, which is what is okay. And then construction, of course, we're spending almost 4 million. And then the debt service increase, and that increase is solely based on the 5% that they let us over levy. So now can we go back to, and then do 25. And I just want to show you the fund of the unassigned fund balance. So we'll be at about 2.9 million. That's a reduction of 432,000. So we are deficit spending. That's what I wanted to bring up to this year. Okay, so in our, go up to the top. So you can see our net increase was 1.4 million, but we borrowed 1.7. So we're technically deficit spending this year, although it doesn't look like it, but we are. So that's something that you need to remember. And that is if everything goes as I have predicted. So if revenue doesn't go, that might be higher. So that's something that we are deficit spending. We are not deficit spending. And the same it goes for in 25. So that's why 26, we need to make sure that we are revenue expenditure equal, because we don't want to go too far down on our unassigned. That is all I have. Does anybody have any questions for me?
And what was it, last week or 2 weeks ago, the finance committee, we did meet to kind of go over this in more detail than what you covered tonight, so, and asked a lot more questions. Any other questions for Ms. Rader? So it's the same presentation for the revised budget and the proposed budget. You're looking for approval for the revised, and then approval or motion for the proposed.
Correct.
Okay.
So we get your thing all over
Yeah,
again?
oh yeah,
Okay.
it's
Yeah, you
just,
guys want to hear me again?
Jim does.
I'll make a motion to approve the FY '24 revised budget.
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Felt, seconded by Ms. Danielson. Any further discussion on the revised budget? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now, is there a motion on the FY25 proposed budget?
Move approval of the FY25 proposed budget.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Burns, seconded by Ms. Naton. Any further discussion on the proposed budget? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Moving on, item E, the long-term facilities maintenance plan. Ms. Rader and Mr. Schuler.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, each year we turn into the state of Minnesota our expenditures, our revenue and expenditures in LTFM. At a simpler level, the Facilities Committee meets and discusses our LTFM projects each year. So we have about a 10-year running list of things that we want to accomplish. So I guess it's been the BOC Committee in the last 4 or 5 years, which is now hopefully transitioning to the Facilities Committee eventually. But that group does revisit that list, and we make decisions based off of need over a 10-year period. So I'll let Lisa may explain a little bit from the finance side, the document that we're sharing tonight. Can you see that all right?
Maybe.
Can you barely see it?
Yeah. The revenues are all formula, is that what's up first? Yeah, that's all formula driven. So I don't even change anything. I just put our number in there and it computes out. So that one is just pretty much done for us. I do get to play around with the expenditure one. I think she put it on the same.
Yeah, it's still on there. It's
Yeah.
at the bottom.
That's 2
Sorry.
pages. Oh, sorry. So basically, you can only really count on the first 2 years because we really don't know what's looming out there. We do have 3 phases of our roofs to do, so I did put that in there. You will notice that a couple of years it does dip in the negative. LTFM can go negative.
Can you show or explain where you are in?
This is expenditures keep going down.
Use that? No, you can't use that.
Okay, a little bit down. Oh, a little bit down. Okay, so as you can see, roofs here. I have a roof project here, a roof project here, and then a roof project there. In this year, which I think is 25, we have a $300,000 intercom upgrade for next year, and that's pretty much the biggest thing that we have there for that. The rest of the things, $50,000, it's a bunch of little things. Our facilities are pretty good because of our bonds, so we don't have a lot of big ticket items except for those roofing projects. So then it's pretty fancy, it totals everything up. And then it brings in the revenue that you just, it's up top. And you can see there's a couple of years that we do go in the middle, in the negative, but that's so far out, I don't know if that's really gonna happen, but it could possibly. So that bottom line would be what, or that last line would be what the LTFM fund balance would be at the end of each of those years if we actually did what we're anticipating. So, and the state requires that we get this approved, and then we sign off a statement of assurance and send it in by July 31st of every year.
And this is sort of a best guess right now. I mean, we're not held to this at all. It's, well, we're held to submit it.
Yes, exactly. That is it.
But like if we decided to move up the roof project, it doesn't.
Yeah, and as Lisa alluded to, I mean, from a facilities perspective, overall, we're sitting in a phenomenal position right now with the updates, the upgrades that we've made with all of the various bond projects and things. So it's pretty cool to see where we are and what we've done in the last several years. So with that, I would approve the LTFM projection.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Burns, seconded by Mr. O'Neill. Any further discussion on the LTFM plan? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item F, lead in water management plan. Mr. Schuler.
Yeah, we're bringing this, Mr. Chair, to the board for approval. This is something that we've worked closely with our partners from Resource and Training on developing and updating per state statute. The statute has changed in terms of lead in the water revisions. So the bigger piece that the state has now come out with and said schools, for one, have to have 5 parts per billion. You have to be under that in order to meet the threshold. Previously to this year, it was at 20 parts per billion. So you can see there's a significant drop in what the lead and water content needs to get to. So in working with Resource and Training, this plan itself kind of directs you on the event that the water that is tested comes in higher than that point or that 5 parts per million. So we've been working very closely with them on this spring, and they're working with many other districts in that same predicament. So again, you can kind of see as you go through, it does give you a number of ways to help mitigate if you are above that level, and some solutions if you can't get that number down. And some of those could be, just totally closing off a tap and sealing it. A lot of times that they're saying it's not the city, it's internal if it is high, so you have to figure it out within your building what the why is. And so again, part of Resource and Training is they come out and do the actual testing. They provide the results from a third-party provider and give the results back to us. And then again, if they are high, we have to figure out the why, and we work through that. And our buildings are done on a yearly basis. So this summer we have the elementary up on tap, literally, to be tested, and then we rotate again each of our buildings each year, every 4 years. So, but this is the first year I think we've brought it to the board for approval, which is recommended at this point that boards do approve that. And certainly you've seen in the news in certain areas of the country where lead in water has been a pretty serious deal for school districts. Old lead pipes and such have created some of those issues. So luckily we're in pretty good shape here in the district. So, but certainly have a good handle on this. Any other questions?
I make a motion to approve the lead and water management plan.
I'll second.
Motion made by Ms. Danielson, seconded by Ms. Getzko. Any further questions for Mr. Schuler on the management plan? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item G, I think it is, District Official with Authority, the Iowa. Mr. Schuler.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. This is always the fun part of the June meeting is I get to designate Ms. Hewen as our Iowa proxy to help fill in for me when I can't do that work. And so she is wonderful at keeping us on track on a bevy of different pieces of authority that have to be turned in to the state, MDE. So this allows Ms. Hewen to do that on my behalf.
Move approval with Ms. Hewen as the Iowa.
I'll second.
Who was that?
Okay, me.
Okay. Motion made by Mr. Burns, seconded by Ms. Danielson. Any further discussion on Ms. Hewen as the Iowa? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Wouldn't she rather be a Cornhusker? I thought you were a Cornhusker, not an Iowa.
I am a Nebraskan.
Next up, the MSHSL resolution. Mr. Schuler.
Again, Mr. Chair, this is an annual resolution that provided by the Minnesota State High School League that we are an official member. It looks a little different this year. They changed their format to the DocuSign format. So what you're seeing is what we've signed and what we're ready to move forward with the timestamp after the signature comes in tonight. Then we're officially able to turn that back in, saying that we completed it at the board meeting. And now we're official members for another year of the State High School League. Last but not least, there is a membership video, and we are asked this year to watch it at the board meeting. So if you could hold on, and I'll try to pull up the technology here. It's on YouTube, so that you might have to get through a commercial here. Oh, yes, thank you. I might have to see if we can get volume here.
Skip.
Okay. And we're not getting any volume. I am all the way
It's on
up.
100.
Luckily, it's close enough.
The 2023-24 school year was a great one for the league. As we look ahead to the upcoming school year, there are some exciting things that we are working on. You may not realize the league has operated as a 10th through 12th grade organization, but now the league is considering bringing all 9th grade participants and contests under the governance of the league. That would make us a 9th through 12th grade organization. This would allow all 9th grade participants valuable insurance coverage in the event of injury or a concussion. Welcoming 9th graders in this way would be a monumental change and one that is overwhelmingly supported by our member schools.
Or
A
if you want
change
to
like
start
this
back
will
over,
require
Darren,
action
I have
from
it on
member
my
schools.
computer.
So look
With
for
the
more
microphone.
information coming from the league in the beginning of the 24-25 school year. To be fully engaged members of the league, our schools are required to commit to following all league rules. These rules have been collectively established and are critical to ensuring safe experiences, equitable opportunities, and fair play for our... Hi, I'm Eric Martins, Executive Director here at the Minnesota State High School League, and thank you so much for taking time to watch this
That's as
video.
loud as it goes, guys.
The
Sorry.
Minnesota State High School League is a dynamic partnership of more than 600 schools, reaching all communities and corners of the state. Our mission is to provide educational opportunities in fine arts and athletics for all students. The 2023-24 school year was a great one for the league. As we look ahead to the upcoming school year, there are some exciting things that we are working on. You may not realize the league has operated as a 10th through 12th grade organization, but now the league is considering bringing all 9th grade participants and contests under the governance of the league. That would make us a 9th through 12th grade organization. This would allow all 9th grade participants valuable insurance coverage in the event of an injury or a concussion. Welcoming 9th graders in this way would be a monumental change and one that is overwhelmingly supported by our member schools. A change like this will require action from member schools. So look for more information coming from the league in the beginning of the 24-25 school year. To be fully engaged members of the league, our schools are required to commit to following all league rules. These rules have been collectively established and are critical to ensuring safe experiences, equitable opportunities, and fair play for our participants. That's why we continue to expand our efforts to share and inform all schools about the requirements and expectations so everyone can do their part. As educational models continue to change, we're seeing a number of newer schools, primarily online schools, in which our Minnesota students are now enrolling. This sometimes raises questions about students who are taking courses in more than one school. In response, we're re-examining our current practices related to participation and eligibility, and we're considering ways to most effectively provide opportunities for students to participate. We're pleased to report the league continues in a strong financial position. Thanks to strong tournament attendance, supportive and collaborative partners and sponsors, wise investments, and fiscal responsibility. As a result, it's very likely that this coming year's membership fees, after credits, will be the lowest in nearly 30 years. As always, our top priority remains the same: to promote and support safe, respectful, and inclusive environments for participation and competition. We want all of our high schools to provide activities and events that focus on educating our students and are free from discrimination, harassment, and marginalization. Together We Make a Difference was designed to amplify the voices and advance the vision of our students to ensure respectful and safe schools and environments.
It's important to feel safe because within that you're able to perform the way you want to and you're able to give the results you want to. In my personal opinion, when I'm not comfortable, I'm not giving all I can.
It takes a team of dedicated adults like you to provide the kind of programming our students deserve. That's why the league and its schools are focused on recruiting, retaining, and supporting our coaches, officials, and administrators.
As an education-based activities director, there's nobody more important than the coach or advisor for our students, whether it's in the fine arts or athletics, because we know that each child is one caring adult away from changing their path of their life.
If you look at or listen to any successful person talk about how they got there, they never did it alone. There's always a mentor, and so we need those types of leaders in our schools today to help our young people understand what it means to be a strong, supportive person within their community.
Sometimes the most enduring lessons our students learn happen through activities beyond the classroom. So it's our goal to focus on enhancing the education of students through a broad range of opportunities that extend the traditional curriculum.
When alumni come and talk to me, the one thing I always hear is, they remember those big moments, but they also remember what led up to them. Everything that they've done to prepare and how those coaches and those experiences have helped prepare them.
At the Minnesota State High School League, it's about more than membership. It's about partnership. We have seen that when our member schools commit to common principles and expectations, we all experience the benefits that come from a shared responsibility to provide safe, respectful, and inclusive activities for all of our students.
To do our best for student athletes and participants, we need to be good partners to one another and collaborate with other schools and the Minnesota State High School League. Every single one of us has an important role to play in making sure that our students have the very best opportunities and experiences when they are participating in activities.
Nothing is more important than the well-being of our students, and participation in activities is a great way to enhance our students' overall health, both physically and mentally.
I think it's really, really important that every high school student finds something to be involved in. Finding some way to get involved in your school and in your community is so important. It not only positively benefits your mental health, but helps you improve as a person, helps you grow, helps you make connections with other people.
These activities have helped shape who I am because it makes me understand the importance of being in something, and it has helped me for the future because these activities help you gain skills such as time management and communication.
Giving students these valuable opportunities is the mission of the Minnesota State High School League. And looking around the state this year, we've seen high participation numbers, packed venues, and enthusiastic support from school communities. And together, we have a bright future ahead. On behalf of the Minnesota State High School League, I thank everyone in all of our member schools for your continued active support, because it's about more than membership, it's about partnership.
After that little technology glitch, is there a motion to approve the MSHSL resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Getzko, second by Ms. Naton. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next item is the notice of general election. Mr. Schuler.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we are asking the board to approve the resolution relating to the election that's coming up in November. We do have four school board members who will be up for re-election, if they so choose, for the 4-year terms as noted in the resolution. So, yeah, this is just sending the notice out to the 3 counties that we are voters in, Hennepin, Wright, and Carver. And is there anything else, Mrs. Hewen, regarding the resolution?
Move approval. Second.
Motion made by Mr. O'Neill, seconded by Mr. Burns. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next one is the notice of filing dates.
Yes, and this resolution is very important in the fact that those who are up for re-election, there are some important dates here to acknowledge. July 30th is the window opening. That opens on the 30th, like I said, and it closes on the 13th of August at 5 p.m. There's a $2 that did not go up fee for submitting your candidacy. So again, those who are interested, please note that. And anything else, Ms. Hewen?
No, as in the past, it will be, you will register with me at the district office. There will be signs up. It will be open every day until 5 during that time.
And the portion at the bottom is what goes into the newspaper for official notification.
And that has a very strict run date as well. So I have those marked, and those will be submitted to our official paper, which is the Herald Journal.
So starting July 30th, ending August 13th is the filing period for those so interested.
That's right.
Fill out the paperwork, turn in the $2.
I'm happy to guide you in any way that you.
I got another 2 years, so. All right, I'll make a motion to approve the notice of filing dates.
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Felt, seconded by Ms. Schultz. Any further discussion on the filing date resolution? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. And that ends the action items of the evening. Moving on to the review and information items, the bond referendum project updates, probably in the abatement bond work too. Mr. Schuler.
Yes, Mr. Chair and board members, I'm pinch hitting for Mr. Zemer tonight, so pardon me. He was going to put together a presentation, but we sent an email instead, so I'm just going to read from the email and maybe fill in some blanks here. Bach members, feel free to do that as well. So again, for the CLC building, the Carver County watershed has issued permits. We're working with the watershed and Bolton Mink to minimize cost impacts due to watershed design and interpretation requirements. Working towards a resolution this week to get that back on track. This project will be pushed back at the CLC in order to get that work done. Obviously, we are hoping to get that work done first. Now that's been flipped to the back end of our projects. The bituminous has been reclaimed and the trees in front have been cut down, as you've probably seen. And again, on that one, I want to note too, I mean, we've had some Bach members who've really stepped up, Jim Burns specifically. I don't think we realize how much time and effort is put in working with the watershed. Jim has some great history with the county, so he's been our navigator through some of these difficult conversations and getting these permits issued correctly. And so again, we're very thankful to all the Bach, but especially Jim in helping us through that one. Middle school and high school, again, same thing. Carver County Watershed has issued the permits. We're continuing to work with them on some of the design and some of their requirements and what they're asking us to do. Demolition, you've probably seen, especially in that upper lot, the stoops and the sidewalks are out. Now that's starting to come back in. And that upper lot with the retaining wall being completed as well. And the utility work is also ongoing there. Concrete curb and sidewalk are ongoing. The curb is done this afternoon around the middle school front entry, and then now sidewalks will be coming here shortly as well. Elementary, bituminous also has been reclaimed and cut out in areas to be removed. Again, that's been moved up on the schedule due to the CLC being delayed. So we're starting to see some action there today. I know they were curb cutting out some of the curbs at the elementary today and getting those ready for replacement. We're taking out the middle section. I don't know if you've seen the pavers that line the inside of the prairie grass. Those are coming out as well. We're going to be cleaning up that area, so that'll be the next thing. So it's ongoing. Obviously, the rain has impacted everybody. When different trades get backed up, it gets frustrating because they're being called to other jobs. So when we have them on site, you try to keep your concrete guys as long as you can, your piping guys, and gals, I should say. But yeah, it's just the rain has created some definite issues. But I think for the most part, other than the CLC, we're still in pretty good shape for being on track. So, anything else, Bach members?
Middle school flooring, I believe, is being laid as we speak. The tile.
Yeah, about 75% done as of this afternoon. They're working their way back down towards the 6th grade hallway, and it'll take a right down the 5th grade and special ed hallway, and that should wrap up. So that is in really good shape, and it looks very good. I'm very pleased so far with what we've seen, and yeah, it's looking great. Hope to be done by 4th of July is what they're projecting on the flooring. So just in time for summer school.
And the high school boys' locker room floor looked good.
Yeah, that was a side project, not with ICS, but that was a needed project. You probably saw some of the flaking of the floor in there. It wasn't ever really great, from my understanding, from the get-go, and we put down a really nice epoxy floor. And I think now we'll start looking at what other locker rooms we can start to tackle, if budget permits, obviously, because it's really changed the whole dynamic. We added some LED lights in there to brighten it up. There's no natural lighting in any of those locker rooms, so it was pretty dark. So yeah, those spaces have really been much improved. And the training room also got it, and then the entryway into the girls' locker room as well. The girls, for everybody, hasn't flaked. That's still in really good shape, but eventually we probably want to move to that as well, that epoxy. A local contractor out of Mare did the work, which was nice to keep the work local as well. So very pleased with that work. Thank you to Mr. Szymanski and the custodians too. We did a lot of labor ourselves in terms of the lockers being removed and then putting them back in as well. And just a different arrangement in the locker would be nice for the athletes and coaches. So, anything else? Sir?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Schiller.
What are you guys going to do with all your extra time when all these things are completed?
Oh, we're still meeting every 2 weeks.
Let's get through the projects
We figured
first.
out we can't let our thumb off them. Apparently.
All right, moving on to the admin reports. Mr. Hennon.
Good evening. Really just kind of wrapping up 23-24 and get ready for next year, and then kind of last part I'll talk to you about 25-26. Hiring wise, we have art and a long-term English language arts teacher. Both of them I have people ready to go. I just need to wait till a certain date to process those. And then working with Randy on high school DCD and a long-term for special education. But otherwise, we are set for staffing. And then just getting ready for the next year. I mean, it does come obviously really quick. August will be here before you know it, with schedules release and all that. Really the main thing just tonight is just kind of give you a heads up. I've talked to a few of you already, but we are working on 25-26 already. I know as part of our long-term view, we've looked at potentially aligning our middle school and high school schedules to look for some more efficiencies and again, just to be more efficient with our staff usage. So not a lot to report tonight, but just want to keep you guys in a loop. I mean, I've talked to some of you guys already. I've gotten feedback from every high school staff member's been given a chance to talk with me and give feedback. Talk to some kids. I'll talk to more kids and probably parents in the falls. We get narrow this down a little bit. There's a lot of high school type schedules out there. I think our biggest goal that I've heard from people though is we still want to preserve the values we have and the opportunities we have, but also do it in a way that's probably more efficient and finances are going to play a role, and we don't want to be changing schedules every 2 years either, because high school credits get a little bit wonky if you start doing that all the time. So that's why we're starting to talk about this already, because if we do change, and I anticipate some change, it will be a pretty massive shift in terms of the infrastructure part of it, but you can still provide a lot of opportunities for kids in different schedules. It takes time, and you just got to, look at what's out there in other schools, what they're doing, and what we want to do. And that's really the goal of getting feedback from people, is to preserve what we want, but also do it in a manner where we can be sustainable for the future. So I'll have more to report probably in August, September. And I'm working with Nick, obviously. We're talking, we set up meetings in July to keep pushing this along, but as we know more, we'll keep coming back with more to you guys. That is all I have.
Anything
Thank you.
else for Mr. Hennon?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Girton.
Good evening, everybody. A couple of quick announcements. We wrapped up our year out on the field. Used our stadium. It was 75 degrees and sunny. It was a great afternoon. So that was just our last Royal Assembly, and just a wonderful way to end the year. A couple of other things. We did collect a student survey from our kids. We do those twice a year, and results continue to show that our kids are feeling good about their school. They're feeling safe. They have a strong sense of belonging. So some more positive feedback for our staff, just regarding our kids' perspective on their school. A couple of announcements. Unfortunately, we had a teacher resign unexpectedly, Caitlin Wires. She was with us for 6 years in 5th grade. She is stepping down to stay home and raise her son, Augie. So she just had a little guy a couple months back, and she decided she was going to stay home, but she's been a fantastic asset to the middle school, a terrific person. So I wish her the best of luck and appreciate her 6 years of service. So we did post for that, and then I am working with Randy Payton, of course, to secure a couple of special education positions. Last thing is just a couple of programming updates. We started our STEM program last year, year one of Project Lead the Way. Was implemented successfully. We're now adding our year two piece, and that will be a robotics and automation unit that will be added, and that'll be an 8th grade course that all students have access to. So we're really excited about that. Melinda Young, who was here last month, she'll actually be in California participating in about a week's worth of training, and then we'll kick that off this fall. So super excited about our STEM program and the support you've provided. Like Mr. Hennon said, we're working on the 25-26 master schedule, just gradually moving into those conversations in July. Our middle school schedule for next year stays a 7-period. The draft of that student schedules was actually completed today by Mrs. Helgett. Last thing, just WIN planning for next year. We're adding a WIN, an intervention period in each grade level to really be more responsive to our goal around reading and math achievement in the middle school. So it's been a good year, and ready for a little R&R. So any questions?
Because WIN was currently only for 5th and 6th grade?
5th and 6th grade, and so we're refining it in both 5th and 6th grade and adding it in 7th and 8th grade. Students that need that support will receive an additional period of that. Students that don't, it'll be more of an enrichment experience. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. O'Connell.
Good evening. The last time I was here, I talked a little bit about our decrease in recess incidents because of our partnership with Playworks. Since I was here last, we met with Playworks to talk about what that partnership looks like moving forward, because we've had so much success at our school, and it's kind of a symbiotic relationship. Having them benefits us, and them using us benefits them, because they're mostly in really metro schools because they're based in St. Paul. We're going to continue that partnership at a heavily discounted rate. They are doing a training in which they'll be sending multiple adults out to work with our high school students who are signed up to help us, as well as our incoming 4th grade junior coaches. Katie Brandenburg is leading that work and figuring out when that date will be. But they've also named us as a blue shirt school, which is how they give out awards. So typically, even though they work with really massive districts all around the metro, there's about 15 schools a year that they recognize, and we will be one of those 15 who will be selected to be in their PR. And they're kind of running our high school kids coming over as a pilot for their program too, and we're presenting, we're putting in a proposal to present at the Minnesota Elementary School Principals Association about our partnership and how we're solving recess issues with Playworks without much support from them, and how we're using our high school kids to help with that. So it's kind of a cool honor for us to be a blue shirt school. We're getting ready for our summer school program, which starts on July 8th. We have 56 students signed up with 4 teachers. This year, we'll also be including incoming kindergartners where they weren't part of the program in the past. So that will really be great to be able to hit on some of those kids who have a demonstrated need and have shown that they've got some at-risk areas in reading or math. Get them support early. Last time I was here, we talked about our Celebration for Learning event that was coming up a few days afterwards. We had that event. We had really great turnout from families. We got good feedback from families on the power of seeing the school day through their child's eyes and having their child walking them around the building and showing off their work. And we had the Works Museum out, and they had a lot of hands-on activities that they engaged in too. So we'll be repeating that evening again moving forward with a different group coming out to support us that night. And lastly, on Tuesday, July 23rd at 6 o'clock, our PTO will be hosting a Freezies, Friends, and Fun event on the playground as a parent partnership event to get families into our school. We're really targeting our incoming kindergarten kids, knowing that the more interaction we have with them, the better we're able to keep them and maintain them. So they signed up, some of them. We've got 80 registered right now. They've gotten registered, but then they don't really have anything till school starts. So we're kind of trying to fill that void and give them more communication in that time frame, but also an opportunity to meet other kids and talk and see whose child might be in their same class and kind of have some connections. So, any questions?
Oh, all great things.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Dimmler?
All right, hello. So summer is in full swing for us at Community Ed. We have just sent our fall catalog to print. It will be out in mid-July, and registration will open in mid-August. I am excited to share that on Friday I found out our summer catalog has just won has won a national award. That's our second national award for one of our publications in marketing materials. So from the National School Communications Award. So that will be on promoted on our next catalog, and we will send some social media out around that. But we are really excited about that award that we won for our summer catalog. And then I just passed out just some information about our data that we had collected in our over the 23-24 years. So just information from our participant surveys regarding expectations, and then data collected on programming. So participants felt that we met their expectations, and when they felt the overall programming was very good. I've shared with you just straight data on the number of staff we have, the number of participants that we had in our child care and our early childhood, and then all our different programs. And then if you flip it over for facilities, just the number of tiered, capped programs that we had, marketing, ads, and all of this information is captured in our fall book, and a sampling of that that's on our back cover is on there. So just to kind of give you an idea of the data that we have collected and how we have presented it to our community. So we are excited about that. And then lastly, I don't want to forget to share with you our Summer Youth Theater. We are very excited to announce Space Case. That will be July 25th through the 28th, and I think that was also passed out to you. Please join us on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for the performance. So thank you. Any questions?
Congratulations on your award.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Mr. Vio?
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to give you some information tonight. My report is going to be very short, but I put together some information just to kind of celebrate the year. So we've had our fast, we assess our kids and screen our kids 3 times a year. And so it's a lot of verbiage on here, and I think if you just kind of listen to it auditorily, hopefully it will make sense. But all of our grades had higher than expected growth rates in math, and 7 out of the 9 in reading. Okay, so I'm talking about our A math and our A reading, and the 9 grades are from K through grade 8. We've had our highest rate of students in that on track or low risk level than we've ever had. Got more kids in that highest rate than we've ever had. Kindergarten, Ms. O'Connell mentioned last week how much they raised their scores, but they raised it 35 points from last year, up to 85% in that top category of low risk. So kudos to them. In A math, 4 of the 9 grades had more than 80% of their kids in those top 2 categories. And all but one of them had 70% of their kids in those top 2 categories. If we had kids who started out in that in those top 2 categories at the beginning of the year, 5 grades in reading and 3 grades in math, we kept 95% of them in those top 2 categories at the end of the year. So if we had them there, we kept them there. And if we didn't have them there, we were moving them there from those other pieces of data. And then a third of our FAST scores, 6 out of the 18, ended the year with their highest overall grade FAST score average to date out of 6 years of testing at Watertown Mayor and FastBridge. So our scores were moving in the right direction. And I think we got a lot of reasons to celebrate with these kinds of numbers. This last one I thought was pretty darn impressive when you got a third, that's 9 tests over 6 years. So I think we're doing extremely well. We're moving in the right direction. We've got a lot of work to do yet. We're going to get there. We're going to keep moving the needle. So, any questions?
Congratulations.
Great work.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
great work, staff. Yes.
How do we do a good job of promoting this?
Yes. Announcing it.
Give that guy over there a really nice quote and he can add it.
Yeah, I mean, it is reason and cause to celebrate, and I think that's a lot of the work is the work of our students, the promotion by our principals, taking it seriously, our MTSS saying, hey, we are using this data, kids, so it's going to have an effect on some placement. So all those things and some good instruction from our teachers and staff have all helped move that needle for sure.
But it's something, we need to
Yes.
be very proud of all the work that we've
Get
done.
it on that sign by the bridge.
Exactly. The wheels are spinning for Miss Young.
In our newsletters, in our school newsletters, our
Exactly.
weekly
The
ones.
difference is that it's finally official.
Right.
Like, you can't
Right.
put out the data before it's
Yep.
official.
Yes.
So now that it's official.
On our website.
Now we can
Woohoo.
And hopefully we'll probably have some more good information like this when MCA data is able to be revealed too. So,
Yeah.
which is at the end of it's like 2 days after our August board meeting that we can go publish.
Yeah, it's an odd timing again. We test in the spring and March and April in MCAs. We don't get to officially release the data to the public, at least. It's embargoed till late August, which doesn't jive well, but we'll be excited, I think, to see some really good results there.
But
too.
individual student scores are posted online, so you can all take a look at
Yes.
your students'
Right.
test scores. So,
Right. Yeah.
for sure. All right.
Awesome.
Anything else?
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks.
Ms. Payton.
Good evening. I just wanted to give an extended school year update. We will be starting on July 8th. We'll have 21 students, and there's starting July 8th from 8:30 to 11:30, and then students can qualify for ESY in 3 different ways. One is regression, so if there's a break, and then they would decrease in their skills, or self-sufficiency, so if they struggle with adaptive functioning or daily living skills, they come in. And thirdly is unique needs, such as like if they have a sustained injury or illness. So we have one student who has a traumatic brain injury coming in. So we will have 6 teachers and 6 paras, so we're looking forward to that. We had some exciting news this week. We had 2 people who committed to Watertown Mayor for 2 different special education positions. One was the elementary special education teacher for the Setting 3 program. Setting 3 is where they spend 60% of their time in a classroom. And then we also have the special education assessment coordinator position that'll be filled. And then I've been working with Bob and Nick on filling those other positions, so hopefully we get some applicants. So professional development, our new hire was able to get trained in this summer right up in June for Sunday systems. And then we look forward to letters training in the fall, and then also some evidence-based reading and comprehension and writing curriculum in the fall as well. So any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before I turn it over to you, Mr. Schuler, enjoy your July off. Hope you guys, I know Mr. Gerton mentioned some R&R, so hopefully you all take some time to reflect on this last school year and come back in August, ready to give us the update of the upcoming school year. It's coming.
I know.
All right. Mr. Schuler.
Well, you segued really nice, Mr. Chair. Before they go for the summer, we have one more event. Next tomorrow and Wednesday, we're going to the MTSS conference in Bloomington. The state is putting that on. MDE is putting it on along with Compass. Compass is a group that the state is working with in terms of teacher PD and a lot in the world of MTSS work. So a lot of our admin team will be attending that along with some of our intervention teachers over the next 2 days. So really excited about that. I think it's pretty cool that the state has actually moved in that direction to provide a free, by the way, training for staff. So we're excited about that. In addition, today we welcomed our new Director of Buildings and Grounds, Jeff Leisman, to the district. And Jeff we had a little meet and greet this morning, and then he was able to take a tour of each of the buildings with the lead custodians and then visit with each of the principals and the directors as well. So you got a full day's worth of seeing the district and behind the scenes and areas of the building that he'll be paying close attention to. So very excited. He's very excited to be here, kind of taking a fresh look at things, and I'm excited what he can bring to the Watertown District. And then lastly, I think the admin group hit it right on the nail. We have summer school starting on July 8th, which pretty much runs the whole 4 weeks of July, and it is finished on August 1. So we've got 21 students, like Randy said, in the ESY program for special education. We have 40 middle schoolers and 54 elementary students attending, so it'll be great to see those fresh faces back in the building. So, and then lastly, again, thank you for all the folks who have had patience coming into our parking lots. It has been kind of a journey some days to get in and out of there, but people are being very flexible and very accommodating, and sometimes it changes within the day that we have to block certain areas or certain entrances. So just thank you for people to be being patient and holding in there with us. It'll be nice when it's finished. So thank you.
Anything for Mr. Schuler? Are there any board member reports from this last month?
Not at this time.
I do. Shocker.
I figured as much.
Shocker there. No, Southwest Metro met last week, and during our meeting, we actually interviewed the last 2 candidates that we had selected for new superintendent. So we had Melinda Majors, who's principal in Stillwater, and Dr. Jeff Horton, who's a superintendent in Glencoe. And after
GFW.
Well, it is. You're right. It is in Glencoe, but yes, thank you.
Yep.
And anyways, after they left, and we decided unanimously to offer Dr. Jeff Horton the position, and he accepted, and hopefully we'll start July 1st, and we're meeting Wednesday to go and approve his contract. So moving really fast. I just want to say, honestly, thank you to all the superintendents that put in all their times, our board members that really put in a lot of time in meeting, and especially Natasha, our HR director, because she really went and did a lot of work so that we could actually hire someone that quickly. So, and that's it.
All right. Anybody else have anything else to speak on this month? Again, kind of mentioned earlier, Finance Committee met. We're going to actually be meeting probably on a more regular basis going forward here. And then Facilities, or BOC, we're still meeting every 2 weeks at least, if not more, depending on items that may come up. As a reminder, I've sent out a couple surveys for everyone to do. Please get those done sooner the better. I think I had the 28th on there, so I think there's 2 surveys. Please take both of them just to help, one, gauge interest in what we want to do as a board. Second one is Mr. Schuler's review, so there's a lot of legwork I have to do between here and there. So, and then in July, there's going to be a closed meeting at the end of the July meeting. So just, the admin team's not here, so hopefully we'll still get done within a reasonable amount of time. So. Anything else? With that said, is there a motion to adjourn the board meeting?
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Danielson, seconded by Mr. Burns. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned at 7:36 PM.